Welcome, everybody, to Survive and Advance on the Grizzly True Sports Network. I'm your co-host for Survive and Advance, Mike Goodpaster. And right now, I want to welcome in my co-host, 1981 national champion, member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, and he's not going to be on the show much longer if he can't get the buzzing out of my ear. Help me welcome to the show,
sorry.
Risley.
Buzzing's gone. My apologies. Buzzing is gone. Is the buzzing gone?
The buzzing is gone.
Sorry, my apologies. I'm doing great. It's a monumental day for me. We can talk about something I really don't give a damn about, and that's the NBA. And we're going to talk about trade deadlines today. We brought in a couple of experts who know all about it, but I'll give my opinion in 2 cents worth. But I'm actually more pleased the fact that I watched the Today Show this morning, and they are renovating and refurbishing the original house that the Brady Bunch filmed the series in for 5 years, starting in 1970. The show only lasted 5 years. Seems like we've known the Bradys. Actually, it's 50th anniversary of the start of the Brady Bunch. Believe it or not, that's why they're doing it. So yeah, HGTV is redoing. Yeah, 69. They're redoing the house. They only use the exterior shots. The old interior was done in the soundstage on Paramount Studios. But they have each of the surviving members of the Bradys, which I think Florence Henderson, Mike Reed, and Alice. I can't remember Alice's. Florence, I think was her name, but I think they've all passed on, but the kids are all still alive, and all the original characters are coming back to do such a couple of rooms. They're going to recreate it entirely as it was shot in that time period, that 5-year time period, with the original 60s iconic interior design, and it was an interesting concept, and it's kind of neat, and it's going to be a tourist attraction now in Sherman Oaks, California, which, Bobby, you're probably 30 minutes one side of it, I'm probably 30 minutes the other side of it. It's probably right in the middle, so you and I can go have lunch at the Brady Cafe here in October, which is when we'll open up. We will meet there. And we will place a large bet that how many people they will put in. We'll do a prop on how many people they'll get on the first day. How's that?
That sounds good.
All right.
Okay, Mike, you can go on and introduce everybody else now. Go ahead.
All right, and of course, we've got from the Sheridan Report, Bobby Sheridan. How you doing, Bobby?
I'm doing good, Mike. Very good. I'm very happy to be on.
And from Indiana Basketball Weekly, or Indiana Beat basketball reporter, help me welcome to the show, Cole Hanna. How you doing, Cole?
Doing pretty good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, we had to bring in two people.
Hey, wait, I got a
to
question
make up for
Cole.
Steve's lack of knowledge.
I got a question for Cole. Cole, do you know anything about NASCAR?
Not a whole lot.
Cole, do you care?
Start learning about it. Because we had a phenomenal first show last night on our NASCAR show, the NASCAR show, now featured on Wednesday nights on The Grueling Truth. Alex Gray and myself, we broke it down. Everything that's happening, went over the new rules package in NASCAR. I'm plugging my show, Mike, so shut up.
Well, you can hear the NASCAR show with Alex and Steve.
You and Jeremiah have a boxing
o'clock.
show, which so far is not drawing as well as my NASCAR show is, and you haven't even posted it yet. So,
well,
my NASCAR show.
The nightly boxing show does like 2,000 to 3,000 listens. Maybe
it didn't last night.
Yeah, it did. It's doing great. It's at like 1,400 this morning.
And you won't post my NASCAR show
because you told me not to post it till Friday.
Do you do everything I tell you to do? Let's get on to the NBA.
All right, but I do it when it means I can postpone doing something.
As usual.
All right, so we'll start off with the most recent trades, which the Washington Wizards have sent Markieff Morris to the New Orleans Pelicans for Wesley Johnson. What's your take on this, Bobby? Who wins this deal?
Well, a lot of times it's not about who wins and who loses. It's just about what the angle is. And Washington, their moves have been just to shed payroll, just to get down into a position where they're better off going into next year. And for New Orleans, they pick up a pick, and they pick up a good player, and because they need good players. I mean, their situation is a lost season, but basically this trade's about Washington shedding payroll.
All right, Cole, you agree?
Yeah, it's not you got two teams in different situations, I guess. And Washington's clearly, like they said, trying to get rid of some cap space. New Orleans gets a good player. They get a pick for the future. New Orleans is probably trying to win now more than Washington is, especially with John Wall being out. It's I don't want to say either team wins the trade. It's just kind of two teams, different situations, each kind of trying to get different things here.
All right, and another trade.
Each other out a little bit.
Yeah, another trade that I find more interesting is Harrison Barnes goes to the Sacramento Kings for Zach Randolph and Justin Jackson. When you look at this, Bobby, the thing that stands out to me is the Lakers are falling apart. The Clippers are having a rough time. Is this the Kings' way of trying to make a move to solidify for a run at that 8 seed?
Mike, you're all over that. I mean, you look at that 8, 9, 10, those three teams, everyone expects the Lakers with LeBron to make their move at some point towards the playoffs. And the Clippers are sitting in that 8th spot, and Clippers got a pretty solid team. And you got Sacramento with all this young talent, a lot of really good young kids, and they're looking for a stabilizing player there. Obviously, they feel can help them. Yes, get to the playoffs this year. In the NBA, teams have agendas, and Sacramento, if they can make the playoffs with this young group, that would be a feather in their cap, and I think this definitely helps them. And Dallas is looking at next year. Dallas is a building a really great roster, and they're going to be a factor here in a little bit, obviously with the move they just made with Porzingis. But I think getting Zach Randolph is a big contract that they can then. How they do. They get the big contract that expires, and they pick up all that money and space. So
how long has Zach Randolph been in the NBA? He's like quite a while, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, we're going on over 15 years, isn't it, Cole?
Yeah, I was looking at a stat yesterday that said of the 10 highest paid players in the NBA in terms of total compensation earned and not what your contract is worth, he's like number 5 on the list. I mean, Dirk Nowitzki has made more money off the NBA in his bank account right now than anybody has. And then I think LeBron was number 2. And then like Zach Randolph was like number 5. And this is a kid out of Marion, Indiana, who had troubles. And where did he go to? He went to Kentucky, didn't he? Play at Kentucky?
With Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Oh, yeah. But didn't last long there, did he? Did he not? I mean, again, he's so old. I don't remember.
I think didn't he play with Magic in that 1979 NCAA championship game?
No, I don't. No, that's me. I did that.
No, you didn't, Steve.
I'm that old.
You did.
I played against him.
Your ass played in the NIT in 1979, so be quiet.
We lost to Michigan State 3 times in 1979, okay? Once there, once at home, once away, and once in Portland at the Far West Classic. We got beat 3 times in 79 by them.
Yeah.
We had nothing for Magic and Greg and Berkovitz and Jay Vincent, that whole crew. I know those idiots all too well because they kicked my butt every time we played them. They were that good. But yeah, Randolph has been around for a long time. Is he really worth that kind of deal that Cuban wants to invest money and bring him down at his age to Dallas?
No, he's not going to be too much part of what they got going on. It's just they pick up his contract. And then what they can do with it. It's how they flip the contract and get in a better position, to get other players. Am I right on that, Cole?
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that, they very well could be releasing Zach Randolph. I haven't heard that's final, but I know there's some talk about that. Yeah, so I don't think he'll really be part of the Dallas nucleus. I mean, Dallas did this because I think they like probably Justin Jackson as a young piece that they can get in. I don't think Harrison Barnes is really fitting into their long-term plans for them. Like Bobby said, they get, Sacramento gets a nice piece that, because I like Harrison Barnes as a player. I think he brings some quality things to them for the Kings. And the Kings, I mean, that's a talented team now. When you look at the Kings roster, that's definitely a team I think can make a run here, get in the playoffs. I know the West is loaded, a lot of good teams in the West, but Sacramento has put themselves in a good situation, I think, with this trade. Harrison Barnes is going to give them, I think, a much-needed boost to kind of get over that hump and get into 8th and 7th seed conversation.
All right. And then
I agree with you.
Then we move on to Houston and Cleveland. The Houston Rockets will get Amon Shumpert, Nick Stauskas. I don't know. I can't pronounce. There's too many, Europeans in the NBA. I can't pronounce their names. It's kind of like boxing. Wade Baldwin. The Cleveland Cavaliers will get Brandon Knight, Marquise Chris, and a 2019 lottery-protected first-round pick. How much does this help the Rockets, Cole?
I think it's going to help them. It's tough. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot with them. The biggest thing they need to get is Chris Paul back, I think. They need help, I think. Just James Harden can't keep doing this all by himself. He's kind of a one-man team right now, and that's not going to win when we get into the playoffs. Iman Shumpert's a nice piece. He's not really going to take any of the load off of Harden offensively, but he's a good defensive piece that can help them on that end. I don't think this is really going to move the needle that much for them, but I mean it'll help them. They need Chris Paul back more than that. I think that's what's really they're counting on at this point.
All right, Bobby.
I heard some good numbers. Just to piggyback on that a little bit with Chris Paul. The Rockets, actually, when he's on the floor, they improve defensively a lot, like the points per possession type numbers, the analytics, and they actually go down a bit offensively. So, in the playoffs, they're going to need to have some defense. And, getting Paul back in the mix, which, he has played the last couple games, really helps them on defense. So, you're right. I mean, and he's another guy that can handle the ball at the end of the game. And Houston's obviously a player in this thing. The way I look at the West is who's going to play Golden State in the finals. And there's, 3, 4, 5 teams trying to get there. And Houston's definitely probably the favorite, to be honest, to get there and play them.
All right.
Hey, Bobby.
Bobby?
Yeah.
Again, I'm just having more fun with this because I've not followed this as closely as you guys have. What's the over-under on Luke Walton? How many days does he have left?
He's already under. He's done.
Not good. He's not.
Did he make the plane ride home? I think. Did he make the plane ride home with the team, or does he take? Does Bill buy him a private jet to fly home back into Van Nuys Airport and land on his own and quietly go away?
I think as soon as they can turn their attention away from this trade deadline thing, and then I think the attention will go to him, and he'll be gone. Will he finish the year? I think probably. You'd have to bet that he probably would. And the Lakers
you think he's going to finish the year seriously? After you saw LeBron sitting 3 seats empty down at the end of the bench as we're getting demolished by a Victor Oladipo-less Pacers, and I don't think he makes the plane ride home with the team.
Well, he obviously did. I mean, they're here and they're home. We didn't hear anything about,
Come on, really.
I think sometimes we overreact to things, and no, he's not. I told you yesterday, he's not going to be hoisting that trophy with these guys. I think you can put that on record. They'll have a new coach next year, I believe. But right now they're focused on trying to get Davis. So,
as for Risley, Risley, you're the one that told me they were going to make the playoffs.
I think, Bobby, do the Lakers make the playoffs? I think they do for sure.
Not unless they get somebody. You're out of your mind, Risley.
Yeah, no. I think the Lakers make the playoffs.
No way.
The Lakers make the playoffs, Mike. No, they go
if
LeBron,
they don't make any moves
LeBron.
And they're going with this roster, they're not going to make the playoffs. The Kings are better.
I do want to.
Go ahead, Cole.
Go ahead, Bobby.
I do want to say. Games.
Yeah, LeBron's missed 19 games. The other thing, too, with the West is the Clippers are trading Tobias Harris, too. That's another trade that's happened. To me, they're probably falling out of the playoffs. So you've got the Lakers and the Kings are really the two teams behind them that are kind of vying to jump into that spot. I agree. I'm probably on the Kings bandwagon right now as far as between those two teams. But, there's an opening there, I think, especially with the Clippers getting rid of Harris for that AC that's going to open up here.
Yeah.
Well, especially with the Kings, the young team going on the road, they're going to lose some games on the road here in the second half that, they've had a lot of good home wins, Cole. And, it's going to be tough for them. These guys have never played into the 60s and 70s and 80s number of games. So the end of the year is going to be really difficult on them. I would project the Lakers and Clippers to be battling for that spot, and the Kings would fall back a bit. But I think that's why the Kings picked up a veteran, trying to get, a little bit more strong for that push at the end. And, but I'm with Steve. I think the Lakers are going to make this. And, Doc Rivers has done such a great job with the Clippers. I wouldn't count him out entirely,
I wouldn't count the Clippers out either. I think the Clippers are better than the Lakers too. And now Risley is going to say there's no way the NBA doesn't make sure that the Lakers get into the playoffs.
Mike, is that how my voice sounds? Is that how my voice sounds?
Kind of goofy and stupid.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's exactly how
well,
it sounds.
I apologize.
Cole, you've been on with him enough.
That's
how he
voice.
sounds, isn't it? I'm Steve Risley, and I watch the Brady Bunch
and
Desperate Housewives of Beverly Hills.
I will go today and find a voice coach out here in L.A. and
it won't
get a
help.
voice
You're
coach
60.
and try and
you
get
can't teach
so I
an
can
old
sound more
tricks.
So I can sound more like a trailer park king from Lawrenceburg, Indiana, because I think that's what carries, on this radio show. So I'll go do that. No problem. I can go. Oh yeah, well we really,
See, I know I don't sound like that. That's you trying to do somebody else's voice, and it still sounds like your voice.
I don't think that there's any way that the NBA lets the Lakers, the second largest television market in the United States, not be in the playoffs.
How about
LeBron
this?
James
When Bobby had his pick of the Pacers over the Lakers, which was right again for Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby's a genius.
You made a comment of, I'd bet on the Lakers because, if it's close, LeBron's going to get all the calls. The problem is this: if you're not any good, the game's not close, and you don't get the calls because it doesn't matter.
All right, but hang on a second, Cole. Cole or anybody answer this. I think the Lakers have talent. What's holding the Lakers back? They've got Ingram, they've got Kuzma, they've got Ball. I mean, they've got some talent on this basketball team. What is wrong with the Lakers?
Well,
anybody
talent.
point it out?
Yeah, the pieces don't
they've
fit.
got talent. Yeah, they've got talent for sure. There's some stuff going on in that locker room for sure that's holding them back too.
Is it LeBron?
LeBron is probably hard. I mean, I'm sure it's hard. I don't want to say it's LeBron's fault, but it can't be easy, especially with all the rumors about, the trade market and all that. There's the report of the veterans on that team going and confronting Luke Walton. There's clearly, some tension between Walton and the players there. But, they've got talent. It's not like they're loaded with talent, though. I mean, they've got Brandon Ingram, who, again, nice piece, but what has he done? I mean, he's put up some good numbers on bad teams. They don't have a lot of great shooters on their team. It's like, like Mike said, the pieces don't fit there. They have a lot of ball-dominant players that can't really shoot the ball. When you look at Lance, Lonzo, Rondo, it's just that they have a lot of guys that need the ball in their hands. They don't have a lot of guys that are great off-ball players. But they have individual talent, but, it's more than talent in the NBA. I'm a little biased. I'm a Pacers fan, but to me, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Pacers are two entirely different stories.
Sure.
The
Pacers are a team that fit. Points. Exactly. The Pacers are a team, they like to play with each other. They fit, and, they work together. They have the team chemistry component. The Lakers are the opposite. They got talent, but they don't have any team chemistry. They don't look like they like to play with each other. They look like they're walking on eggshells all the time. And you have people fighting in the locker room and fighting with their coach. And that reflects in the court.
Bobby?
Well, the Lakers,
Mike, let me ask you one of you. Does Magic step up and coach this team?
No. He's already failed as a coach. Why would he want to fail again? I mean, LeBron coaches this team. And the thing that shows us is this. LeBron's not a great leader.
He's not. I got to agree with you there, Mike.
When LeBron won before, he had Kyrie Irving. He had Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is a great leader.
Kevin Love.
He's a great clutch player. I don't care who you love, Steve. But the Cleveland...
No, Kevin Love.
No, they didn't win anything once Kyrie Irving left, though.
Right.
Because Kyrie Irving was the go-to guy in the clutch. LeBron's not a go-to guy in the clutch, no matter how bad people want him to be.
LeBron pretty much ran him out of Cleveland, right? We kind of assume that.
Yeah, now he's trying to kiss his ass to try to get him back. But what happens here? What happens here if, Jerry West with the Clippers, I mean, it's possible he could end up with, Anthony Davis today from the Pelicans. And I know everybody thinks that in the offseason the Lakers are going to make a big signing, but if it stays the cluster it is, what's to say that one of these big free agents isn't just going to say, hell, I'm just going to go play for the Clippers? Then what do the Lakers do?
You know, Mike, you stole my thunder with this comment right here. I'm really impressed with where you're going right now.
Shut up, Bobby. Don't do that. Bobby, don't do that. I got to do another week.
Don't do that,
I have
Bobby.
To do a show with him every day. Don't ever tell him that you're impressed with Mike Goodpaster, because I will pay the price for that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, the thing is this. If I had $1 for every time somebody said that and then Risley came back with this lame-ass comment, I'd be a rich man.
You're so right, Mike. You're so right.
I'm brilliant.
Well,
It's just
Bobby.
the way it is. I've learned
comment.
to come to grips with it. Y'all need to, too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bobby.
I'm learning to come to grips with it, too. So go ahead, Bobby.
What I liked about, where Mike was going with that is, on the Davis's, we're just conjecturing here, but it's fun to do. The deadline happens at noon, and then this summer is huge. But Davis, on his no-trade list, he left the Celtics off, and they desperately want him as the final piece.
Oh,
and he left the Clippers
on. The Celtics
on.
get him. Nobody touches the Celtics.
Right, and the Clippers get on, right? They're on the list. And what did the Clippers just pick up in that trade? They moved Harris, and they got 2 first-round draft picks.
Yeah.
What does New Orleans want? They want picks, and they're rebuilding. They want picks and talent.
It wouldn't surprise me if, shockingly, the Clippers ended up with him before 3 o'clock Eastern today.
It wouldn't be a surprise. It would not be a total surprise. You couldn't bet on that, but it would not be a surprise. No, not at all.
What's their cap space? I mean, Ballmer's got more money than God. I mean, or at least almost as much as Bill Gates.
And Steve, they've got a new building they're building. We talked about that already.
Building their own stadium,
So that would be tremendous. And, and the New Orleans has no love for the Lakers because of what's gone on, the tampering and everything. And they really haven't even negotiated much. And the Lakers have had to kind of just back off because they don't want to deal with him. So, to me, New Orleans has got to trade him because what are they going to get for him? Right?
Nothing. So he's
he
going
doesn't
somewhere.
play there anymore.
And it's the fact of this. The Clippers are rolling with Jerry West in the front office. And Jerry West has done some great things before, if you look at his history.
Well,
and he is a lot more capable of pulling this off at GM than Magic Johnson is.
Well, yes. I mean,
I would agree with you there, Mike. I would agree with you entirely.
Just
there.
off track.
I give you props on that one. Yeah, I give you props on that one big time. I agree. Magic is he's a billboard for the Lakers.
Yeah, he's a figurehead.
He's a figurehead. Yeah, I don't think he makes the decisions there. They got the other GM who's the guy. What's the guy's name? Bobby, the agent that kind of runs the whole show.
Yeah, he starts with a P. Palinka or something. Rob Palinka.
Rob Palinka.
Yeah.
He's pretty much the day-to-day decision maker. And then Jeannie Buss, who shows up at every sorority party in Los Angeles.
Right.
We're 57 years old. She's gorgeous. She's worth $4 billion. She owns the Lakers pretty much single-handedly.
Yeah, but she had sex with Phil Jackson, so right there, that dropped her down big time.
That's a knockdown, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a strike against her, I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, the Zen Master. Come on.
Like a Sasquatch
Zen Master
nailing her.
But, yeah, the Lakers are a very dysfunctional organization. I wonder how solvent that the organization is, how much money they spent on to get LeBron. I mean, it sounds like do they have the money to get Davis? Do they have the cap space?
Yeah, they have the money. Because
they have money.
If they didn't have the money or the cap space to do it, LeBron wouldn't have ran out there.
Well, LeBron's got his hands in, you live out here, LeBron's got his hands in everything in the world, but including basketball out here too. He's making movies, he's producing movies, producing shows. He's got his kids, buying private schools so his kids can go unobstructed in them, not be bothered. He's got more walls than Donald Trump could ever hope he would build around his house. So if you live out here, it's a different world.
Yeah, but the question is this: did Mexico pay for LeBron's walls?
I bet they buy enough NBA merchandise. They probably did.
All right, let's move on.
China and Mexico may have paid for that wall. Yeah, move on. Yeah,
all right, let's move on to Chicago Bulls.
Is Davis that good? Is Davis that good a player though? I mean, is he the one? Is he the common one?
Yeah,
he is the one center in this league that could have played center 30 years ago. Agree, Bobby?
Well, yeah, he's the top piece. He's a top 3 player in the league, top 5 player, in the league. So, no doubt about it.
So, real quickly, Cole, where's he going? 3:00 today, noon my time. It's what? Less than 2 hours? 2.5 hours. Where's he going?
If I had to put, right now, I don't know if I can say. I mean, the only team that's really, as far as the reports, has been active in trying to get him is the Lakers. I know Boston's involved, Clippers involved, but it sounds like pretty much, New Orleans is just not returning the Lakers' calls. They aren't really showing any interest in making that deal. So if I had to guess, they may keep him. I mean, it doesn't sound like, there's anyone that's close to a deal for him. And, we're going on 2.5 hours until the trade deadline here. Something could pop up late that they pull the trigger on.
Is there anything the Lakers could give them that would put it over the top where they would take it?
Luke Walton?
They have young players, but it doesn't sound like it. At least I saw the last trade offer because the trade offer got leaked, and it was pretty much every young player the Lakers had, essentially, with the exception it was like Ingram or Kuzma was left out. And they didn't bite, and apparently they weren't even close to being convinced. So at this point, I don't know what else they're going to give them. Their draft pick isn't going to be because no matter what, they're going to be a middle of the pack West team. It's not going to be a super high draft pick. If they're not going to bite on the young players, there's not a whole lot LA can throw in there to get them without getting a third team involved, really.
Yeah, or Lance Stevenson, because Lance Stevenson, I think, would put this over the top.
Yeah, Lance Stevenson could. Yeah, that's the one wild card there.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the Chicago Bulls and the Washington Wizards. The Wizards get Jabari Parker. I sound like Steve there. Bobby Portis, a 2023 second-round pick. The Chicago Bulls get Otto Porter, Cole.
Yeah, I like the move for the Bulls. I think Otto Porter can help them out. That's a young team. And I say that, hopefully Otto Porter can come in and help them, but he's also coming from a Washington team that's had some locker room issues, so who knows if he'll be a good fit in the Bulls locker room. The Wizards, it's just, they get rid of a fat contract. Again, that's what the Wizards wanted to do.
Yes.
They get Jabari Parker, who's, not on
an enigma.
Too bad. Yeah. I mean, he's been, unfortunately, I think he's kind of been hit with the injury bug when you look at his knee injuries. But he can come off the books this coming year. He has a club option next year. So they can get rid of him if they want to after this. And Bobby Portis is a nice young player who's shown he's never really put it all together, but he's shown flashes at times. For the Wizards, it's getting rid of some unwanted money, trying to clear some cap space, and picking up a young player like Bobby Portis that can maybe, become a serviceable player in this league. And the Bulls are just trying to get, that could be a long-term piece that can help the Bulls. They have a lot of young talent, and Otto Porter is still only 25. When he's at his best, he's one of the best, role players in the league, I think. So, I think it's a good move for both teams.
All right, Bobby.
Well, I agree. It's a good move because it's the same old story for Washington. They're, shedding all the payroll. And for Chicago, they're getting a good player. Otto Porter is a good player, and he's part of their plans for next year. He's going to fit in really well with the young guys they have on that team, Markkanen. And I like the deal for Chicago a lot.
All right.
Otto Porter's a good player.
Next up, we get the Phoenix Suns and Miami Heat. The Miami Heat get Ryan Johnson. The Phoenix Suns get Tyler Johnson and Wayne Ellington. Bobby, what's your take on this one?
Ellington, I think, was the key player there. But he gives the Suns another guard, a defensive-minded guard, and I think that's going to help them a lot. And I think Ellington's a good player. He was talked about going to a few other teams because he's a good three-point shooter. So that's a pretty good deal, The Heat, I think they save on some money and are able to position themselves a little bit better. This isn't a big deal, but I think the Suns got the better end of this.
All right, Cole, we'll give you this one. The Milwaukee Buckies. That's actually a better name, by the way. The Milwaukee Bucks get Stanley Johnson. The Detroit Pistons get Thon Maker.
Yeah, it's an interesting deal. They've kind of been both young players that both teams kind of thought could turn into something. They haven't really blossomed there. The Bucks are, what the one thing that's kind of confused me with the Bucks is this looks like a team that has a lot of wings that they're masquerading as power forwards now, and they don't really have a bona fide big man on this team. They have Brook Lopez, but he's not really a typical center. He's not going to really battle inside. He's not really going to clean up the boards. And not that Thon Maker is really that either, but they trade him for another wing. It's an interesting deal, but
You there, Cole?
He cut out.
Yeah. Steve, what'd you do now?
with
You there, Cole? All right, your phone cut out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, did it cut? So I think I just got a flood warning. I think on my phone here.
Yeah, we got it down here too. My front yard is. I mean, if we took the wheels off the trailer, we could float that bad boy right down the street.
Yeah.
Steve, 75 and sunny here.
75 and sunny here. 75 and sunny
great.
here out here. Yep.
I'm just talking to you guys. Got my shorts on. No
I got my shorts on.
My dogs are already swimming in the pool by themselves right now, so they're having fun out there.
Well, my dogs can go right out in the front yard and swim, and my pool's bigger than yours right now.
That's it. I'm sure I can go find a pool outside.
But the whole difference is, Mike, the chlorine in the pool kind of cleans their fur and gives them kind of a little mini bath where you got to.
I thought chlorine was bad for a dog.
It probably is. I'm sure it probably is.
Yeah, you still put them in there.
I know what it's bad for, and we've had this discussion before. It's bad for the fact that when my dog drinks enough of it that pees all over the seat of my truck, it's not good for the leather in my truck, that's for sure.
Well, I'll guarantee you drinking water with chlorine in it's probably not good for your dog either, Steve. Did you ever think about when you saw him drinking it, say, hey, stop?
I don't know what he's drinking. He doesn't drink it. He just plays in the pool all day, and it just kind of goes down his throat, I'm sure, because he's diving for tennis balls.
So you're throwing tennis balls and having him swallow water. That's bad for him. All right. Now we'll go to
actually, we throw 10-pound rocks at the bottom of the pool, which is 8 feet deep. He swims down, he grabs the 8-pound rock up, and brings it up and puts it back up, and has me throw it back down to him.
So if he doesn't bring the rock back up, the next time you throw it down, do you tie his leg to it to teach him a lesson?
No.
Okay.
We don't. We're not cruel animals.
Just making sure. All right. Next up, the Philadelphia 76ers get Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic. I don't know. Am I close on that, Bobby?
I think you're close. Might as well, yeah.
And Mike Scott. The Clippers get Landry Shamet. That's Wilson Chandler. Mike Muscala. A 2020 first-round pick. A 2021 first-round pick. A 2021 second-round pick. And a 2023 second-round pick. So I think it's safe to say that the Philadelphia 76ers are all in for the next few years, Cole.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. They have a really scary, four-man, star power there when you look at Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. And now you fit Tobias Harris in there, and I think he fits in well. You look at probably what this team needed was another shooter that can spread the floor for those guys. And Tobias Harris is a very, very good shooter. He can score in a multitude of ways, but especially shooting the ball, he's very good. My only concern for the 76ers here is the depth is going to probably be an issue here, not just this year, but moving forward. They don't really have draft picks to get depth. They're going all in. They're probably going to have to, and not that, you can cover up depth with star players. But, if this team doesn't work out, they're kind of mortgaging their future here. And for the Clippers, it's all about draft picks. I mean, like we said, they're trying to get Anthony Davis. So acquiring draft picks helps there. But, if not, I mean, if they don't get them, they still have, now 2 first-round picks here. They can either keep them and use them to draft good players or flip them for a different player. But it's all about, Clippers are acquiring assets here.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
that's a good question. Does getting the 2 first-round picks entice Davis to come to the Clippers?
That's what we just said. We said that like 10 minutes
Okay.
ago. Actually, now the thing is this, Bobby. They've got 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and they can throw in a few players with that and even throw in a pick or 2 of their own if they wanted Davis that bad.
Yeah, that's where it's at, Steve. They'll flip the picks as part of the Davis deal. That's those. I don't think the Clippers anticipate using these picks themselves, but it's a fallback. The fallback for them. Cole's analysis was perfect. It was right on. And from an odds perspective, Philadelphia went from 16-1 to 10-1 after this deal. So that's how big of an important it was them adding a 4th player and
So my
getting out of that.
question to you, Bobby, is this: is Philadelphia now all of a sudden the favorite in the East?
I think so. Yes, Toronto's a good team, and the Bucks are on top right now. Boston, surprisingly, is in the 4 spot with those 4 that we just mentioned, and I think that puts Philadelphia over the top. It's going to be an interesting. What's going to be interesting is who comes out of the East and who plays Golden State in the West. Those are really interesting plots right now.
Yeah, and I think one thing this has done is I think this has made this a lot more wide open, and it's a lot more wide open on both sides than it has been in a long time, Cole.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The West is, there's a couple teams there that have made runs in the West. Houston's obviously going to be a problem. Denver has a really good team this year. People maybe don't talk about them as much because they don't have the superstar power, but they just have really good players up and down that roster. Oklahoma City's had, one of their best years in a while. Paul George is in the MVP conversation for them. Then going to the East,
Cole.
Yeah.
Cole.
Yeah.
Talk about the fact that your brother played basketball with Gary Harris.
Yeah. Grant played basketball with Gary growing up. Ross played basketball with Gary growing up. He's from my area. Yeah, we went to the same high school, so it's cool to see him having success. I know he's missed a lot of the year with injuries. Unfortunate for him, but yeah, I mean he's a really good player too. I mean he's a really, really good player in the NBA. I mean he's a very, very good 3-and-D player.
And Cole, who coached him and made him a good player in his youth?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Don't say it,
Who coached him?
because you know it's not
Cole, who
true.
coached him, Cole?
Who was his high school
Steve,
coach, Cole?
I'll tell you what, Steve. I'm
Yeah.
sure you did more good for him than HSC's high school basketball coach did.
Oh,
I mean,
golly.
I'll tell you
I hope Satterfield's not. I hope Satterfield he follows me on Twitter. I hope he doesn't get this.
Tell you what, no offense, Satterfield. We had Zach Irvin and Gary Harris in the same team, and didn't do anything.
Couldn't win a sectional, and couldn't win a. We had 2 Mr. Basketballs and couldn't win a sectional on the team at the same time. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
All right.
But
go ahead.
moving to the East, Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston, Philly. Any of those 4 teams can get in there. I want to put Indiana in there, but without Oladipo, I don't think they're really in that conversation anymore. I think Philly has moved themselves up to the – I don't know if I want to go as far as say they're the favorite. I like Milwaukee, and I think Toronto is really the team to beat right now, but they're definitely – they've put themselves in that – they're right up there with those teams. I don't know if I want to say
Toronto's
they're
not
the favorite,
done yet,
they're
Cole.
in that conversation. Yeah, Toronto is very much – they're still looking.
Yeah, they're still looking.
Kyle Lowry is a good piece. Kawhi Leonard's the best player in the East, I think, hands down. Especially when they get into playoff time. Yeah. I mean, he's up there too. I like this move for Philly. I think it's a good move. It puts them certainly. I didn't think they're going to come out of the East with the roster currently constructed, and getting Tobias Harris puts them up in that conversation. The East is going to be interesting to watch this year. It's going to be the playoffs are going to be very interesting in the East.
Bobby Cole, anybody, the Pacers. Okay, they lost Oladipo. That was a team that was in the mix. I mean, I don't think they were going to win the East, but are they going to try and replace him, or are they just going to go status quo with what they got and play it out?
Great question. We kind of addressed this a couple weeks ago. I think they're just going to go status quo and play it out because I don't think they view themselves as a legitimate threat to get out of the East. They're the team that nobody wants to play in the first and second, or let's just say first round, because they do play so well as a team, and they're very defensive minded and they're well coached.
So wait a second. What you just said about them, though, means that they have no chance, right? I mean,
they don't have any chance, in my opinion.
Well coached. They can shoot the ball. So does that mean in the NBA it's more important who your players are than, say, college, where the coach may be the biggest deal or biggest difference?
Well, college is one game, survive and advance. In the NBA, it's a best of 7. And they don't have the star power to win a 4 out of 7 against Embiid and Simmons and Butler and Harris and Antetokounmpo, and they won't win a series, no. And so why would you give up too much pieces to get a Conley? Conley instantly makes them better, instantly, but at what price? And that's not going to matter because it won't put them over the top.
I saw Collison's kind of a little bit of trade bait for them. Is that I was reading some of the trade sheets. Is Collison, he's kind of a minor Conley to some degree. Is he kind of trade bait for the Pacers right now to try and do something to strengthen them for next year? Because I believe the Pacers are looking to next year now. They've written off this year, realistically, and behind the doors of their own offices. They're not going to tell their ticket holders that and their fans, but I think losing Oladipo just takes us out of the mix.
Yeah, I mean Collison's a piece. Collison's a piece they could look to trade. Corey Joseph's another they could look to trade. Aaron Holiday's name has come up in a few trade talks. He's a young point guard that the Pacers are high on. And
I don't think there's any way to trade him.
I know they floated him in Mike Conley talks. That hasn't come to anything.
I'd rather have Holiday
and I know the reports. But yeah, especially moving for the future, I'm really high.
Mike, I agree with you, Mike. Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I think if a guy like Aaron Holiday, you never know who steps up when your best player gets hurt. And we've seen teams in other sports and in basketball lose a player like this, Bobby, and they still end up being all right. I still think they're a contender. I don't think you can overlook a team that plays defense, is well coached, and gets along.
Well, yeah. I mean, the way I look at them is they're the 5th best team in the East. So, whatever that means. And Mike Conley, look for him maybe to Utah. That's a
I saw that report, yeah. I was going to ask you about that, yeah. Talk about that, yeah. I saw that report pop up. Is that a good figure? I mean, you're high on the Utah Jazz. Every time I talk to you, you think the Jazz are the team to beat in the NBA. Besides the Warriors.
Well, I think the Jazz are
all I hear is Utah, refund.
They can play the Warriors in that. The Jazz, there was a stat that came out I saw today. When 5-on-5, when the 5 starters are on the court for both teams, the Jazz are the 4th best team in the NBA according to analytics. 4th best. You should see who they're ranked better than. And so the regular season is a different animal than the playoffs. You can go with your guys longer, and in the playoffs, play your starters more minutes. And Utah, let me tell you something. That's going to be a team to be reckoned with in the playoffs this year. They get things figured out. They're very good. In fact, I think Denver's been ranked ahead of them all year, but that's going to change.
Yeah, I agree. Utah's got a lot of young pieces, too, when you look at Donovan Mitchell. Rudy Gobert is one of the best defensive big men in the NBA today. That's a team that moving forward, they have a lot of talent. And I know they struggled for a little bit earlier in the season. They've kind of put it together here lately. Mike Conley would fit in well with that team.
He would be great.
I don't know. Yeah, he'd be great for most teams, pretty much. I mean, Mike Conley's an easy player to plug in and play pretty much anywhere. But,
Right.
I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger. Mike Conley just has such a big salary. It's tough to get that to work. But,
Right.
Certainly that would be a great fit for him would be Utah.
Yeah, it'd probably be a third team involved there. And the thing about, we're talking about some of these teams who we love, but, they can only go so far without the three-headed monster. It seems like you need the three stars together to win it all. And these great teams have great seasons and will never hoist a trophy. And that's when I go back to my younger days and Stockton and Malone, they had a couple stars and they put a lot of pieces around them. And darn it,
they
if
had
it
three
wasn't for Jordan
stars.
and
Jeff
DePaul.
Hornacek was a star. Hell, he was the best player in the biggest games for him.
Well, yeah, and they got to the finals, and if it wasn't for Jordan, they might have won a couple. But it's just really hard to win it all without the big boys, but the Jazz and the Indiana and those kind of teams, those organizations they're great organizations, and look what the West, they're just trying to get there to play Golden State. They got no shot in that series, none, right?
Yeah.
None.
Well, Houston
Yeah,
last year took him 7 games, and if Chris Paul plays, I think Houston would have taken him out last year.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at, Risley?
No, I just was laughing because when I heard him said back in my day, and he mentioned Hornacek and the guys, I'm thinking back in my day, as old as I am, it was Frazier, DeBusschere,
Pete Maravich,
and Bradley, and yeah, that was the Knicks. It was Walt Frazier, Dean Meminger, it was Willis Reed. That's my day. That's I just laughed at that when he said back in my day it was Hornacek and Stockton and Malone. I'm thinking, oh my God, those guys were.
Yeah, but the problem with that Jazz team is they were basically those three guys.
Yeah.
And the other problem is this: Karl
the
Malone.
70 Knicks were one of the
Malone
greatest teams of all time.
in the NBA Finals was the biggest choke artist you'll ever find.
Yeah.
That was a dude that usually shot 75, or Karl Malone. That was a guy that usually shot 75, 80% from the free throw line. And there was games they would lose by a point or two at Chicago, and he's missing 10 free throws during the game. So I'm not
Okay, I got
fan.
a couple questions here. One's fun. One's a fun question. Let me ask this one. Cole, they've got Pacers have Collison, they've got Holiday, they got TJ Leaf. Do they get rid of McMillan and hire Steve Alford?
No. Why?
We just said McMillan was a good coach. So why would you hire Steve Alford?
Said it was a funny question, okay? It's like you might as well reunite UCLA back in Bankers Life Stadium, whatever the hell the thing's called now.
We can get them back
that.
together. We can get them back together so they can underachieve like they did at UCLA.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what Steve Alford's
what
good
they're
at.
still doing at UCLA. They lost again.
Yeah.
And then, Bobby, the other question is, the team we haven't talked about that I think is underachieving is Oklahoma City. Are they doing anything? Are they standing pat with what they got? Because they're underachieving with the amount of money they spent on the talent they've got on that team.
Steve,
they're really not getting it done.
They're 4 games behind the Warriors, and they're 34-19. How are they underachieving?
Yeah, I was just going to say that they're not underachieving at all. They're having a really good season. They're winning a lot of games. They're winning their home games. Paul George is playing great. Westbrook is having a down year for his standards. But this team doesn't have a lot of depth, and I think they're getting overlooked. I agree with you. That's where you're right.
That was my point. That was my point, Mike. They're getting overlooked.
No, you're not saying
They're
they got
getting
overlooked, Steve. You said that they've been a disappointment. There's a difference.
No, he said both.
No, he didn't.
They're not
he
getting
said
a lot.
they were a disappointment.
meant-
That's what he said.
Mike,
Well,
I give Mike props. I'll give Mike props on this one. Yes, I did. So that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Move forward, Bobby.
But I think I knew. But I think I knew where you were going. I knew where you were going.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're being overlooked.
No, that's not where he was going. He thinks they suck because he hates Paul George.
Let me redirect my question. Is Oklahoma City doing anything or thinking of anything that they can do to put themselves, because they are close to Golden State, that can move them in front of Golden State. It does not seem like they're doing that. If that team is indeed, and I misspoke, if that team's that talented, should they be trying to take somebody that can add like a Mike Conley or somebody like that can come in there, or Davis that can say, this one move will put us above Golden State because they're on that level. So redirect my question. I apologize.
Well, getting Mike Conley, someone like Mike Conley is just not a realistic option for them. Just from a salary perspective, Mike Conley is 30-something million, right? Like they are not, and Oklahoma City is not going to want to ship Paul George, Russell Westbrook, or Steven Adams, who are those big money makers on their team, out in any trade for Mike Conley. So that's
so what you're saying, Cole. Hang on, Cole. What you're saying is this is a team that doesn't want to win championships. He just wants to get paid.
No. That's not what he
said. I would think those guys, they'd redirect their money and say, you know what, if we pick a Mike Conley and that makes our team stronger, we want to ring.
It doesn't make them stronger. The only way they can afford him is if they get rid of Paul George, Russell Westbrook, or Steven Adams.
Yeah, okay. I don't think that trade makes them better. I mean, realistically, this team, they can give the Warriors a run for their money, but if they're going to get over the hump, realistically, they probably need another star player. I mean, you're talking about a Golden State team that has 5 all-stars in their starting lineup.
And they've spent so much money, it's hard to get another one.
Yeah. So that's exactly my point. That I don't know how they can realistically go get another one. Not without shipping away one of their 3-star players they have right now.
But they can bring in a piece, though. Maybe not a star piece, but maybe a smaller piece in an area where they're deficient, like maybe 3-point shooting or defending on the perimeter. They can get something like that, but we haven't heard.
Like a Derek Collison, or an Aaron Holiday.
Collison would be great, or Holiday. And Holiday, all that talk, Oklahoma City, I would bet, was one of those.
Yeah, that's my point, Mike. I'm sorry. Not as eloquent as
you'd
like me
to be. You're not as eloquent as I am. You're not as eloquent as I am.
Eloquent.
I know. That's why I said it like that.
Hey, Mike.
What?
Hey, Mike. We haven't brought up one of the bigger. Maybe it's because the deal's already done. But what do you guys think of Gasol going to Charlotte? Gasol and Conley were the 2 big names from Memphis. They'd played their last game together, and they spent all these years together. And Conley so far nowhere. But Gasol to Charlotte. Why is that deal not?
Okay, can I make one comment? Then I'll let you guys, because I'm the least intelligent of the 4 of us talking here, and I admit that. The Charlotte Hornets will never win as long as Michael Jordan's in charge of that basketball team. His ego's too big to make the right moves the Charlotte Hornets needs to make and do the things he needed to win. Because Jordan's got that mentality in my brain that nobody does it better than him, and it's his way or the highway. And I don't think no matter what that team does, as long as he's in charge, they're not going to succeed. Now, I'll shut up and let you guys all address it. That's my statement.
I think I agree with you. I think I basically agree with that statement.
Yeah, because Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte's a tough team to win with. Charlotte's kind of a team. I'm trying to figure out what they're doing for the future. Are they going to go all out and keep Kemba Walker here? Are they going to win with Kemba, at least in that window? Because Kemba's getting up there in age, too. It's a tough team. To me, if I was Michael Jordan, I would blow this team up. I don't see this team winning a championship. I don't see them attracting.
This team up, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I agree. Well said, Mike. He's blown them up. Yeah,
Cole.
Just as Magic's blowing up the Lakers. I think it's the same thing in Los Angeles. Magic's blowing up the Lakers. His ego is blowing up the Lakers. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say what Cole just said was perfect because they're a tweener. They're in between. They're good. They pick up Tony Parker and they have Kemba. And, they have a good solid team this year. Good 500 team in the East. But they are in between about what to do. He should blow them up. He's right. Cole's right. But Jordan's ego, he doesn't want to go through 2-3 horrible seasons. That's where I think the ego comes in. And as far as the Lakers, I don't think Magic's been bad for them in any way. I have to disagree with you there, and I'll shut up now.
Nobody said he was, but he has been because now I'm saying it. I think he's bad for him.
I think Magic's been bad. No, I think Magic's been bad for the Lakers. I think Magic. Yeah, I think he has been. I think that the Lakers would do better to get Paul or Rob Kalinka in charge of that team. And get Magic out of there. I just think Magic is going to look at it like Jordan looks at things, that I'm the greatest player of all time. Kind of, Bird was the one thing who really I thought brought value to the Pacers when he was GM and coached that team. And I thought that because there was so much respect, but I just think that Johnson and Jordan are just two guys whose egos are so big, not in a bad way. They're both, I've gotten to play against both of them, and they're great guys. They really are nice guys, truthfully.
When
along
did
with
you play
Isaiah
against
Thomas.
Jordan?
In the 1984 game, we played against the Olympic team, the
They let
former
you play
Indiana
in that
players.
game?
Yeah, I actually
thought
started
they just
in that
used
game.
like
Yeah.
NBA stars in that game.
No, we played against that team in Bloomington at Assembly Hall. I got to play.
Oh, at Assembly
And,
Hall. I thought you were
I
talking
mean-
about the big game in the Hoosier Dome.
No, I did not play in that one. That was it was the big one. But we played in one in exhibition in Bloomington. So, but we got to hang around with Michael for a couple of days, and he was genuinely a good man, a good guy. And so was Magic. Magic was the smile on Magic's face is as genuine as it gets. But I just think their egos are a detriment to them wanting to be their way or the highway. And I think it's hurting both franchises. And I would, it's not my
But Magic
$3.7 billion
jumped
that
Magic
Genie
jumped
has.
in here. I was going to say, Magic jumped in here. It all can't be done in the first year. I mean, he said 3 years. And if he hasn't gotten it into the finals in 3 years, he'll step aside. Well, this is only year one, and they're still trying to put the next piece and two together to be hoisting that trophy. So you can't say that yet about Magic.
Yeah, you can, because I don't think you can take LeBron James and expect that to happen, especially with a 3-year plan, when your 3-year plan includes your main signing being a 34 or 35-year-old player who's been in a league
15-year-old player, 15-year player, who's on the downside of his career, who's now missed 19 games. And the first time in his life, it's the fewest games he's played in the season.
Right, but LeBron, I think LeBron's going to play with his son. I think he wants to play till he's 40, 42. That's what I think.
His son's only 13, so.
Well, 6-7 years.
Yeah. If his son's that good, which we don't know.
No, we don't know yet.
Like I said, I go back to say about the Lakers and the Clippers, the seat you can buy for $500 at a Clippers game costs you $5,000 at a Lakers game. It's showtime, and Magic is the epitome of showtime. And I'm not sure he's not the epitome of NBA Jerry West, marketing or team building genius. This is my opinion.
Let's put it on record today, February 7th, or will the Lakers be in the finals? In that 3-year window. This is the first year, so will the Lakers get to the finals by 2020? 21. Will they?
Not as long as Golden State stays intact and Oklahoma City keeps their crap together too, and Denver and Utah. There are more fast-climbing teams in the West than there are in the East.
No,
the East is pretty well boiling down to.
No, the East has got teams like the Nets, who I think are only going to get better over the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Nets are in a good position for the future. Yep.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers are not one of the
right now.
The Lakers are not one of the fastest-moving teams in terms of building their armamentarium in the NBA right now. They're in the bottom half in terms of me because they banked on LeBron. And they caught LeBron, like you said, he's 33, 34, 35, somewhere in that age. He's got 15 years in the league. He's wearing out. And if he is hanging on to play with his son, and you're putting that kind of money and investment into that with the Lakers franchise, that's not going to get you back to Showtime.
Well, and the way he plays, I don't think we're going to see a Tom Brady here with LeBron running around playing at 41 or 42 years old either.
No, he plays too hard.
Yeah. And we see that
he plays
by
the game
missing
too hard,
19 games this year so far. That's
right.
The main reason I think that they won't make the playoffs is because I think that number's only going to rise. I don't think it's going to stay at 19.
It's a valid point. I think that the NBA will do everything they can to get the Lakers into the playoffs. Whether they can do it without it being championship wrestling,
Yeah, but you know what? The NFL
yeah.
did everything they could to get Peyton Manning a Super Bowl championship in Super Bowl 48, but it didn't matter because Seattle just blew them out of the water so quick. Officials couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, you're right. Well, yeah, exactly. But I think the same problem's going on in Charlotte. Go back to Charlotte. I just think as long as Jordan's there and calling the shots, I don't, I just think these guys, having played against some of these guys, they play the game at a different level than everybody else in the world does. Magic, Bird, Isaiah.
Yeah, but Bird was a success in Indiana.
Yeah, he was. He was. Yeah, and he's the exception. I said that. He's the exception. But these guys, they don't understand mediocrity. Jordan doesn't understand mediocrity. Bird didn't really. Bird was more of a common man and could deal with it and coach it. But Magic doesn't understand mediocrity. Those guys will play at such a high level that if they don't have other people playing at that same level, they don't get it. And they're always searching for that person that plays like they do. And there's just so few players that play the game the way those guys can play the game. And they keep trying to build their team that way. And I think that's what's going to kill Charlotte. And I think that's what's going to end up hurting the Lakers. Just my opinion.
All right, real quick. The Milwaukee Bucks have sent Jason Smith and Stanley Johnson to the Pelicans for Nikola Mirotic. Did I get that right, Bobby?
Hey,
wow.
Yeah, I think it's Mirotic. I think it's Mirotic.
Yeah, Mirotic,
whatever.
So what do we think of that, Bobby?
Hey, huge move for Milwaukee. This is their counter piece. Everybody thought they were done and couldn't do much else. They just got a guy who's averaging 16 and 8. And that is just a great move for Milwaukee, and that might put them back over Philadelphia. What do you think, Cole? That's a big move.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good move from Milwaukee. I mean, Baroda, that's a hell of a three-point shooter they just got. That's a guy who had a lot of success for New Orleans. Yeah, to me, I mean, Milwaukee's already the number one seed in the East by a pretty healthy margin. And now you're adding a player of Mirotic's caliber. To me, that puts them above Philly to me. I think with Giannis and now, Middleton there, Bledsoe, now you're adding, Mirotic to this group. That puts them above Philly.
Now, one thing I want to ask you, one thing is I'm looking up his stats, and he hasn't played since January 23rd. Is he nursing an injury right now?
Yeah, I believe so. I couldn't tell you exactly what the injury is. I don't think it's supposed to be anything super long-term.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong there.
I think you got to be right, because they're
not going to trade if he's not going to be able to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good move, though.
Yeah, no, for Milwaukee, that's a great move.
I mean, his last 3 games he played, you mentioned the three-point shooting. He was 3 for 7, 5 for 12, 3 for 6. He made 11 3-pointers in the last 3 games he played, which were in late January. No. So that's a huge move.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely, that's a great move for them. To me, that's I think the best trade of this trade deadline so far in terms of one team improving without having to give up too many huge assets. To me, this trade is the best one.
But for this year, probably still Tobias, right? Just for this year only.
Oh, yeah. For this year, in terms of Tobias Harris is the best player that's been traded. But you look at, Philly's given up 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. For this year, Tobias Harris is the best single player that's been moved. But to me, this is the best trade in terms of what you gave away versus what you got back in terms of the balance there.
Right. Totally agreed. Totally, yep.
All right, Bobby, did they ever come out with lines for the games tonight?
Yeah, they finally did, and I've got them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my.
Are the Lakers 40-point underdogs yet?
Let me check that out. I'll pull it up. Okay. I had it pulled up, and for some reason it's off of there. So let me pull it back up. Go on and talk about something. It'll take me a second.
Okay, Steve.
Yeah.
Anything happen on Young and the Restless?
No. We were discussing Martin Truex Jr.'s role on JGR Racing, putting in behind Denny Hamlin
All right.
and
Cole,
Kyle Busch.
Talk about anything that's not NASCAR or golf related.
And then you get Steve.
Pebble Beach is today, guys. Are you kidding me? This is the greatest golf tournament. Pebble Beach. This is where the celebrities meet the tour players. It's the most iconic golf course in the United States.
There needs to be a football game like
Augusta.
that, where we get celebrities with football players to play a tackle football game.
Oh, that's called the NFL Pro Bowl. That's called the NFL Pro Bowl.
Because there's no celebrities there, you idiot. I'll tell you what, I'm getting so sick of your crap. Cole, are you available every day at noon?
Please, Cole, are you available every day at noon so I can just do my NASCAR show and Bobby and I can do a sports book show?
What I was then going to ask was Bobby if he likes NASCAR, because him and Alex could do that.
Bobby loves NASCAR. He's coming on. He's going to be a regular on our NASCAR show, Mike. You didn't know that, see? He's going to be a regular. He's going to book. He's going to book NASCAR for us. So,
All right.
I already took care of that.
So what are your top plays for tonight, Bobby?
You want to go into TSR? Okay, well, I'm going to post the NBA on Twitter. I'm going to have to, when we get off, I'm going to spend a couple hours on the NBA. The Lakers are playing the Celtics, to answer your question, and the line's 8.5.
Is that it?
So, yeah, the lines are all out. But anyhow, I'll post it all on Twitter for free for the fans. There probably will be one game for sure I'm looking at, maybe a second. But for the TSR, we're looking at college tonight. There's two games that I like, and I'm going to give them both out. I'm going to give the whole card away. And BYU is not a top play, but it's a secondary play, but still a good play. They're minus 12.5 tonight at Portland State. But the top play is your big game tonight. And interesting, the line has really moved on this game, and I think it's moved in the right direction. And I'm going to give you the updated line on this game. When it came out yesterday, Iowa, when the very first line, Iowa was favored a point. And I took all that I could at a point. They have you limits, overnight lines. And I took all that I could at +1 with Indiana. And then it quickly went to Pick'em, quickly went to Indiana -1. That's when I fell asleep. And when I got on this morning, came on air this morning, and I pulled these up, Indiana's 2.5. So the line has moved 3.5 points in Indiana's direction. That should give you an indication of where the professional money, the early money went. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be right. Indiana has a big shot in this game. And, the thing is if you watch the game last night, Wisconsin showed you exactly what you have to do to go on the road and win a ball game in the Big Ten, a big game. And they went down to Minnesota, and what did they win it with? Their defense. And Iowa is going to try to come down and win a big game tonight. They don't have the defense. They're going to try to do it with the offensive efficiency, and it's not going to travel. So, they're among the worst stats, if not the worst, in the Big Ten defensively. So we know that Indiana is going to be able to do a lot of things offensively. They're going to put the ball in the bucket, and the fans are going to be excited tonight. Okay, so Iowa struggles there. The officials are going to be huge in this game tonight, and I think your coach Miller did a great job in his presser. He already brought up the fact that the foul shooting for Iowa has been a huge factor this year in their games. They lead the conference in foul shooting, and they lead the conference in attempts. So that's good stat for them that they do. But Miller bringing that up, I thought, was a very good tactical ploy. Attention to be brought. I think the foul shooting tonight, the officials, the calls are going to be very, very important. I think Indiana at home will get those. And finally, from a confidence standpoint, there's a lot of pressure on this team, and because they're Indiana, and they're struggling through that 7-game losing streak. And I think what really helped them is they went to Michigan State. Nobody believed they could win. And I think that really, I don't think they went into that game with a lot of pressure. And they found themselves with 10 minutes to play right there in that game. But it's from that point to the end of overtime where this team grew up. Because
now
all of a sudden
this is
the pressure,
different because now you've got pressure again, Bobby. People expect things.
You do have, but you've also got confidence, Mike, because those last 10 minutes of regulation and 5 minutes in overtime, that changed their season, in my opinion. And they're going to come home where they're comfortable, and they're going to play a team that's not defensive at all. And I think Indiana's got a double-digit win tonight. This is my top play tonight. And, you know me, I don't drum things up for the local audience. My first time I ever came on air, I picked against Indiana. And, so I like them tonight. I think this is the right spot, a great spot, and I think they'll win by double digits. I don't think this game's going to be as close as what people think.
All right, and I want to remind people, if you want to read Cole's article on the Indiana-Iowa game, it is on thegruelingtruth.net. And then tonight, around 11:45 to midnight, we will have the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show after the game. So, Cole, if you're free at 11:45 or 12, you can come on with us, because actually we've got our daily
Colin won't be there.
show, or Cole, yeah, but we can have a call.
Yeah. Colin will be asleep, so Colin will be in bed getting his beauty rest, so we won't have Colin.
just text us and let us know, Cole, if you are free. We'll text you and keep you in the loop on when we're starting the show, but if you want to come on, you're more than welcome. And Cole's article for the preview of the Iowa has done very well. We want to thank everybody for reading that. Bobby, anything else?
Well, yeah, just real quickly, two very quick ones. PGA, Steve, let's get into this tomorrow on Survive in Advance. Let's talk about the tournament more. We're running out of time, but today we got two matchups that have already started. They're both.
Hey, so Bobby, we're always running out of time when you start to talk about golf. But go ahead.
Well, this is a fun tournament, and anyhow, let's do that tomorrow. And right now, you got Dustin Johnson -3 in the tournament, and his matchup was against Spieth. I took plus $1.50 on Spieth, and he's trailing by 2. And then we got Snedeker is -1 against Fitzpatrick, and they're both -1 right now through 3. So enjoy the golf, Steve. I know you will, and you're my golf guy, and I just really like talking that sometimes. But on this day, a quickie, because there's no way I could allow this to not be talked about. Coach Knight, this was on this day, I think 91. You've got it in front of you, guys. I don't have it. I think it was 91. He was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame, not NBA. That was that's not my words. I copy and paste that. But into the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I've watched that speech a number of times, and just Coach Knight, speak a little bit about around that time when he was put into the Hall of Fame. Wasn't there something he wasn't happy with the Hall of Fame? Why, Mike or Steve? Was there something that went on before he actually did accept? Am I right on this?
Steve?
Mike, you're the resident genius on Bob Knight. God forbid I only have known him 45 years of my life.
Go ahead, Steve. Answer the question. What was his problem with the Hall of Fame? And you haven't known somebody for 45 years if they've only talked to you for 4 of those years.
No, that's just not true.
It's a joke, Steve. I'm sorry to offend you.
All right. No, I'm crying. Now you hurt my feelings because now you don't think that Bob Knight likes me. I don't know. Bob Knight had problems with everything that walked in front of him. So what the hell was he pissed about? The Hall of Fame for in 1991? Who knows? Who cares? And you just learn to deal with it. And just, like I said, don't listen to how he says things. Listen to what he says. If you did, I got that advice from Ken Benson when I was going in to meet him. Yeah, well, it's true. The first time I walked in to meet him in his office at Assembly Hall, when I was being recruited, Kent drove me around campus and said, here's where you get your free gas. Here's where you get your free clothes. Here's where you get your free car wash. Here's where you get your free car. He showed me all those places. Now the NCAA will be all over Indiana tomorrow, so that's good. That's not true either. I'm making all that up. NCAA, Mark Emmert, don't get on that. But he said, the one person that survives Indiana is a person who can get over how he delivers information and just listen to the information he's delivering. And that was the one thing that I took to heart. I was fortunate enough that I got that advice, because a lot of players never got that advice because they went and did a tour with Ted Kitchell, who never gave him that advice because Ted needed to have other people not get that advice so Ted could keep playing because, he could just shoot the lights out. But who knows what Knight was pissed off at in 91, who knows? I have no idea.
what you just said the last 2 minutes was made the whole show for me. I mean, thank you for sharing some of those words. That's great. And Mike, what was the deal?
Cole, what did Steve say? I wasn't paying attention.
He said that the key to Bob Knight was
that Kent Benson told
processing
him
the information. Yeah, getting understanding what he's trying to say, not how he's saying it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
filter it out. It's kind of like how my wife deals with me. See, of 35 years of marriage with my wife, she doesn't listen to how I say things. She just listens to what I'm saying. And, when that happens, we get things accomplished at home. When she listens to how I'm saying it, we get into a tiff. So
well,
for
Steve,
marriage,
to be fair,
it
I'm sure.
All right.
Well, Steve, to be fair, I'm sure a lot of that is just not listening to you too. I'm sure that's a lot.
Yeah, that's like
How that
Goodpaster. He just doesn't listen to me at all. So that's why Goodpaster and I love each other so much, and we have a great show and we get along. Is because he just doesn't listen to me, and he moves on and does his own genius thing. And I accept the fact that Mike's a genius and let it go, and say, okay, but I'm funnier than he is, and so we work and play off each other.
Good stuff.
That's it.
Oh, are we still
Good
on?
stuff.
Bobby, from what I remember, I think Knight was pissed because in 1987, after IU won the national championship, was the first time he was up for induction, and the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame rejected him after 3 national championships. He called it a slap in the mother face. I had to bleep myself there.
Hey, Mike,
asked,
in my go ahead. I'm sorry. I have a question for you when you finish the statement.
He asked those cocks to not induct him in 1991, and that they could go F themselves, and he did not even want to be effing considered for effing induction in the stupid effing Hall of Fame. That's his words, by the way.
Yeah, I remember that. Now I remember that. Now, was there also some indication at that time that there was thought that Wooden may have had something to do with keeping him out?
I do not remember that at all. I just remember.
Yeah, I don't know
pissed.
if I do or not. I don't know.
And when I pulled it up,
I know that Wooden was not a
rant
fan
there.
of Knights.
No, because
Wooden
John
was not
Wooden,
a fan of Knights.
See, this is the thing. When light is turned on to evil shudders. And John Wooden was evil. He was a pathetic old man who basically everybody worshipped because the NCAA swept what he did at UCLA recruiting-wise under the rug. I mean, there's a reason why UCLA never got players from the East Coast until Sam Gilbert arrived in 1964-65. And the thing is this, John Wooden was a really good basketball coach without Sam Gilbert. In like 15 years, he won a national title, maybe 2, and he won 68% of his games. When Sam Gilbert arrived, he won 88% of his games, and he won 9 championships. So when you compare John Wooden and Bobby Knight, most people don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Will tell you Bobby Knight's a miserable human being, and that John Wooden is this golden god. When the truth is, John Wooden did worse stuff than Bobby Knight ever did. And I don't care if Bobby Knight grabbed Neil Reed or put his hand on his throat or not. That's not as bad as spending 10 to 15 years turning your nose as you had somebody buy you players. And then you come up with your pyramid of success. The top of the pyramid, actually the foundation for that pyramid of success should have said, a rich guy that owns a car dealership that'll take care of all my players. That would have been more accurate, because Bobby Knight gets ripped, but you know what? You can rip the way he acted sometimes, but you can't rip the way he coached. You can't rip the way everybody that graduated for him, that played for him, loves his ass. You know, the people that didn't make it through, that didn't know what Kurt Benson knew or what Steve Risley learned from Kent Benson, were abject failures. When you went to IU, I'm pretty sure, Steve, you knew what you were getting yourself into. Everybody knew that you were going to get yelled at. You were going to get screamed at. He coached through fear. Maybe that's not the way to win, but I know this. I'd rather send my kid to play for a man like that, where I know he's going to graduate and I know he's going to play on the level, then I wouldn't send my kid out to California to be schmoozed by a car dealer that's going to give him everything, teach him nothing about life except that he has no responsibilities because he can play basketball. So guys like Steve Risley, Kent Benson, Isaiah Thomas, these guys were taught that no matter how well you can play a basketball or put a basketball in a hole, that's not what made you special. What made you special was how hard you were willing to work for what you wanted. John Wooden never taught that. And that is a much bigger shortcoming than grabbing Neil Reed or throwing a freaking chair across a basketball court. And as Forrest Gump would say, that's all I got to say about that.
And as I'm going to say, the views expressed by some announcers on this show are not expressly the views of the show, the website, the Grueling Truth.
You disagree.
Survive in Advance,
so
of Bobby Sheridan Report,
so you disagree.
Or of Cole Hanna. No, I'm just disavowing that those are your opinions.
You're such a little
because putting your
sometimes.
hands on Neil Reed's neck is never acceptable.
I never said it was, but it's a lot
form.
Better than teaching
I don't agree.
You
it's
don't?
A different cat.
Oh, okay.
It's a different cat.
He put his hands on Neil Reed.
I have to get that on tape and clarify that.
Neil Reed was a punk, but
I never got touched by Bob Knight in my 4 years of playing for him.
So what grown man has touched you, Steve?
I was bigger than him, and I could outrun him. So
I don't think so. I think Bobby Knight would have outran you, and he would have kicked your ass.
He probably would have, yeah, because his famous saying was, Risley, I'd like to lock you and me in a room and knowing only one of us is going to come out alive. And I'm like, I don't ever want to go in that room with him.
So Bobby
I
Sheridan,
don't think I could beat him.
Do you disavow what I just said, or do you agree with me?
I'm disavowing it on behalf of the website.
All right, Bobby Sheridan.
Anybody who potentially
wants to advertise for us. Are you turning your back on me, too?
On behalf of the Sheridan Report, which does advertise with us.
Dude, we got an LLC. We're good if somebody sues us.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's limited liability. That's not no liability. That's an LLC.
Well, as the liability all goes back
LLC
to the site.
Is limited
they can't
liability.
Sue me. They can sue the website, and they ain't get nothing.
Yeah,
there.
I played a lawyer on TV one time, so I know my law.
You did not. You did not. You played golf with a lawyer one time.
I play golf with lawyers all the time.
Yeah.
And they cheat like a son of a bitch, too.
All right. Whatever. You're such a baby.
Whatever.
You're a snowflake.
All right.
How about this, real quick? Did you see? Yeah, you are. You're a snowflake.
I'm trying to protect your trailer.
You're not protecting
so it doesn't
anything.
Get sued out from under you.
You're not protecting anything. You're just being a big ass baby.
All right. You're right.
Bab
I'll take accountability for that.
Baby. Jeez. Bobby, did you see anything wrong with what I said? I never said it was all right to put
Bobby,
a hand on
do not
Neil
answer
Reed.
that. Shut up, Bobby.
You can answer it. Bobby, do you support Bobby Knight, or are you on the side with Risley against him?
Don't you have to go to class, Cole?
I have class at
2:30
here.
Yeah, wrap the show up, Mike. We got to go.
Well, Bobby, you agree with me?
I'm going to listen to Steve, but I love Bob Knight. I'll tell you that. But I'm going to listen to Steve on this one.
About what?
Yeah.
I just know that Steve has my best.
We're not going to repeat
it,
you idiots. We're not going to repeat it.
Steve doesn't have your best interest. Steve's just trying to make me look bad. Because he looked bad the whole show because he knows nothing about the NBA.
I know nothing about the NBA. I came on the show and said I know nothing about the NBA. I don't care about the NBA.
Yeah,
it's not
Which
relevant.
Probably
to me.
does wonders for our ratings on this show.
It probably.
And if you're with the NBA, I want to tell you that those words expressed are just Steve Risley's words. They're not the Grueling Truth.
Yes, they are.
They're not Cole Hanna's.
No
They're
doubt.
not Bobby Sheridan's. They're Steve Risley's. All right, guys.
And Mike, let me ask you one question here because you just brought this up. Who is our NBA beat writer? We don't have one.
Cole Hanna.
Because Cole, are you officially our NBA beat writer now?
Just say yes.
Did
we just anoint you that position?
Just say yes,
do you really
Cole.
want this position now after what we just went through?
Well, you're the NBA beat writer. That means that you can find other writers and you can just be in charge of them. And if you want, you can grab one by the neck.
I'd take your talent and run to Fansided or Barstool Sports as fast as you can.
Yeah, but they
get the
won't
hell out of
pay
here.
And their podcasts suck because they get like Pat
and
McAfee.
and like we're paying him. Yeah, like we're paying him. Okay,
yeah,
good.
We are. He's getting college credit.
Well, as he's getting college credit, yeah.
That's invaluable, Steve.
That's got to be an NCAA violation too. His parents are making money because they're getting college credit paid for because Cole's doing such a phenomenal job for us. So Cole, you are now officially our NBA beat writer. All right.
There you go.
Have us an article before you go to class, Cole.
Now you got to start another article now on the trade deadline today. I need it on my computer so I can get it edited.
Yeah, so he can get it edited, not so he can edit it, because Risley's not real good with letters and such.
No. Spell check doesn't work on editing. I get that. I know my
spell
limitations.
check doesn't work in your
Unlike
brain.
you.
Jeez. I got Grammarly. I just plug it in and it tells me. And Cole, by the way, in the article you sent me last night, Hawkeye was spelled wrong once. So
I know. I did see that, and I tried to fix it before I sent it to you, but I couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to
he didn't know how to
Word
spell
document.
it.
No. No. To do that, there's like a 4-step process. You got to save it as a Word document. Then you got to go into spell check. Then you got to correct it.
Don't.
And
you
then you
got to
to
put it in the back end.
Reattach it.
If you ever have Jeremiah teach you how to get in the
Goodpaster
back end, you could do it. You got to have Jeremiah teach you how to get in
spell
the
Hawkeye
back end.
wrong, Cole. You did spell it wrong.
My bad.
I saw that.
Yeah. Well,
that's
I can
okay,
tell you
know.
this. Steve Risley has never sent me a text where at least one word wasn't said wrong or spelled wrong or one word didn't actually exist in the English language.
There you go.
All right, guys, make sure you check out Bobby Sheridan at the Sheridan Report. Make sure you listen to Indiana Basketball Weekly live tonight.
Hey, wait.
Game,
I got something to say.
What do you got?
Wait. Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, Steve.
It's been nice knowing you. I'm sorry you probably will never want to do business with us again, but I've enjoyed my relationship
Hey,
with
don't
you.
let Risley scare you away,
today.
Bobby. I still
I'm
like
sure
it.
it ends today, Bobby, but I enjoyed your insight, your intelligence, your thoughtfulness, and I'm sorry it's probably ending today. So with that, Mike, wrap it up.
I'll still send you guys a report. Cole was nice meeting you.
All right.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Tomorrow, Cole will be back to talk about rules changes in sports. Of course, Major League Baseball's made headlines with that as of late. Bobby Sheridan will be back, possibly, with the Sheridan Report to talk about the Pebble Beach Pro-Am and to give us his top
I'm not
plays
coming
for the
back.
weekend.
I'm not coming back. I'm done.
Well,
I'm done.
there,
I'm retiring.
listenership just went up. Everybody will be excited. All right. I was going to have a rock co-host the show if you couldn't do it, so we wouldn't drop off at all. And remember, Inside Boxing Daily will be live tonight at 11 o'clock Eastern, followed by the Indiana Basketball Weekly show, so make sure you check all those out. You can follow Steve Risley at srisley34. You can follow Cole Hanna on Twitter at
I'm
Cole
shutting down my
Hanna5.
Twitter page, too. I'm shutting my
Okay.
Twitter page down.
Can you
after
shut
this
your
show.
mouth so I can finish the show? That'd be even better.
I'm shutting down my Twitter page.
And we've got Bobby Sheridan at the Sheridan Report. Correct, Bobby?
At Sheridan Report.
At Sheridan.
And
Well,
then
it
for the
confuses
website-
me because Risley's over there screaming and hollering all the time, and I get flustered. But
The
all right.
website is the Sheridan Report, but the Twitter is just at Sheridan Report.
So make sure the website is the Sheridan Report. Twitter is at Sheridan Report. So make sure you check out Bobby there. If I was going to bet my money, I would bet it with Bobby. I wish your name was Sonny, because then I could have sounded like Muhammad Ali. You know, if you want to bet your money, you got to bet with Sonny. But all right, we're going to wrap the show up. We can be heard tomorrow.
Thank
at
God.
noon. Why? Oh, okay. It's been like an hour and a half, and he hadn't been on Pornhub yet. All right, here we go. We're going to wrap the show up. So for Cole Hanna, Bobby Sheridan, Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where Steve Risley never shuts up.